You've probably rehearsed it in your head. The phone call, the message. The moment someone tells you a person you love is gone, your chest tightens, your mind goes blank. You don't know what to do with your hands. But here's the strange part. Your ancestors felt this exact same collapse tens of thousands of years before words for grief even existed, and what they did next built the foundation for almost everything you now call a funeral. Go back over 100,000 years to caves and rock shelters scattered across Iraq, Israel, and France. Your ancestors are burying their dead, deliberately, carefully, not tossing bodies aside like discarded food scraps. That single fact is enormous. Burial is a decision. It says, this body still matters. This person is still someone even now that they are gone. Archaeologist Paul Pettit has spent decades studying exactly this. He argues that deliberate burial marks one of the first clear moments of symbolic thought in the human story. Digging a hole, placing a body in a specific position. That takes planning, that takes meaning. And it wasn't only your species doing this. At Shanidar Cave in northern Iraq, researchers found Neanderthal remained surrounded by clusters of pollen. Someone suggested Neanderthals laid flowers on their dead. Later research complicated that story. Some pollen may have blown in naturally, but anthropologist Orella Hovers and her colleagues found something else undeniable. Neanderthal bodies were placed in curled, deliberate positions, in graves, dug with intention. Why does that matter to you? Generations removed from any cave. Because grief did not begin with humans. Watch elephants touch the bones of a fallen herd member on repeat visits for years. Watch chimpanzee mothers carry their dead infants for days, unable to let go. Primatologist Barbara King has documented this across species. Grief, she argues, is older than humanity itself. It shows up wherever deep bonds get ripped away. Your grief is not a glitch. It's not a personal failure or a sign that you are somehow broken. It's the price of connection, paid by every social creature that ever loved something enough to eventually lose it. Picture a small band of early humans, maybe 30 people total, everyone depending completely on everyone else just to survive the season. When one dies, the group loses a hunter, a storyteller, a piece of its whole social fabric. What fills that terrible hole? Ritual. Later prehistoric sites show bodies painted with red ochre before burial. Tools and shell beads placed beside the dead. Bodies arranged facing a direction, curled like sleep. None of this was random. Every object buried was a resource the living chose not to keep. Why would starving hunter-gatherers give tools to a corpse? Because the ritual was never for the dead. It was for the living. Evolutionary psychiatrist Randolph Nesse has studied why grief evolved at all. His research suggests grief functions like a forced pause, a signal that something essential has changed. Rituals gave early humans a structured way to process that change together instead of alone. Strip away every modern trapping from a funeral. People gather. They pause their routines. They speak the dead person's name aloud, sometimes for the last time. They cry in front of each other, a strange kind of trust. That structure didn't start with religion. Religion likely grew around a need that already existed. Some early burial sites show skulls kept apart from bodies, sometimes painted or displayed. Uncomfortable, but telling. Grief rituals were never one clean formula. They were experiments, different groups asking the same unbearable question. What do we do now that this person is gone? You are still running that experiment. You just call it a funeral home, a candle on a shelf, a photo saved as your lock screen, a song you can't hear anymore without your throat closing. Strip away the language and the century, and the shape underneath matches that cave in Iraq, tens of thousands of years ago. A community stopping everything, gathering around an absence, trying to give it enough weight that it doesn't vanish into silence. You are not just attending a modern ceremony, you are taking part in one of the oldest behaviors your species has ever practiced. Older than agriculture, older than cities, possibly older than language itself. So the next time grief knocks the air out of your chest, remember this: you didn't invent that feeling, and you were never meant to carry it alone. Somewhere in your biology is an instruction written by ancestors who felt the same collapse and discovered, cave after cave, generation after generation, that the only real cure was never silence. It was gathering. It was ritual. It was refusing to let the person disappear without a mark. You've probably rehearsed the moment grief arrives. What you never rehearsed is how ancient the response already lives on in you truly is.